Welcome back to my channel, guys. I want to get that in there because sometimes I forget. So, this video will probably be a little bit long. It's a conversation I probably should have had a few weeks ago, but other things came up or it just didn't really cross my mind at the moment that I was making the video. But it's kind of interesting. I think you'll enjoy it, even though it's a little long. I'm going to make you wait until the end of the video to hear my weight. Hopefully I'll remember it, but I'm keeping it to the end. Just to kind of give you something to keep you going. This video, though, evidently I'm becoming like some kind of dating mentor. And back in June, July, when I was just starting to get my feet wet on the whole dieting thing, I wouldn't have called myself really worthy of being a dating mentor, I was insecure with my weight. You remember that video? I mean, maybe you watched it, maybe you didn't. The video that goes into how weight affects your sex life with stamina and with your length. Never really had the problem with ED, but it does affect ED. ED can be a factor with some people with weight. Never was with me. But even though I've been assertive and aggressive in bed for a while now, I was never as confident or as knowledgeable about dating as I am now. When I was 27, I got my first taste of what it's like to have girls coming to you, but for that short period where I had kept that weight off, I never really considered myself a good dater. And in the last, since the beginning of this journey, I've been really getting into those self-help books, and my biggest focus on these self-help books have been charisma, confidence, alpha male mentality, just men's dating in general. These are all big ones. I've started to branch out just recently into things like money, managing your money, and good habits. And I'm thinking of purchasing this one. I think it's called like the 40 Laws of Power or something like that. And someone recommended it. I don't know if it's really me though. The thing is like 23 hours long, 24 hours long, I think. Really long book, and I'm just not sure if I'm ready to go that deep with a book. But I don't know. Like I said, it's become like a real hobby of mine to listen to these books. And you take those books into account, the things that I've learned from these books, the things that made me feel more confident about in dating that I already knew, but I needed reassurance on. You talk about the sleep meditations, because I'm kind of on the opinion that they do help a little bit. I mean, if not, then it has to be just the books. But whatever is going on with me over the last, 7-8 months, however long it's been at this point, there is some major changes going on in my life. I mean, you talk about my personality as far as the personality tests go is changing, but more than that, like, I am more extroverted, more lively, more happy and smiley and flirty than I've ever been, ever. And I mean, I am getting girls coming to me more now than I was when I was 27 and was in a better body shape. I mean, before I thought that I had girls coming to me like crazy. It's crazier now, and I'm not even there yet. And I've got this buddy, right? He's like me when I was his age. He is a sweet guy with good intentions. He's maybe a little more roughneck than myself, but he's a passive nice guy, and he has almost no dating experience. He never had a constant male figure in his life to teach him, about women. He grew up with a lesbian couple, which, no offense to lesbian couples or anything, but there is a benefit to having a man in your life, right? I mean, hopefully Not too many people will be mad with that I said that, and if you are mad, oh well, because that's just the way I believe, and you can have your own thoughts. But the point of the matter is, this guy, he comes to me a few weeks ago, and he's telling me about this girl that he really likes. And he's had a crush on her for a while now. I think it was like his older brother or older buddy of his had dated her, and he had to clear it with his buddy before he could even start talking to this girl that way. And she's been blowing him off, like, for a while. Like, she'll talk and flirt on occasion, but he's been trying to set up this date with this girl at this point, and she's totally blowing him off. And he goes to give me his phone to show me what she looks like. And as he's giving me this phone and I'm looking at her picture, she literally blows him off in a text right in front of me. And I giggle, and I'm like, okay, obviously, like, you're on your final rope with this girl, right? Your final chance. I'm gonna write something. Let me see if you're okay with me sending this to her. So I write out this semi-sexual message. You know, it's very direct. It says basically it was something like, you know, saying what his intentions were, that I want to date you, and I want to have my way with you, and I eventually want to marry you. That's basically the concept of the text. You know, I said it in more words, and I even softened it up a little bit, made it a little less bold because he wasn't comfortable with my first edit of this text, and I got him to press the send button, and she almost immediately responded in a positive light. And by the end of like the hour, he had a date with her. He comes back to me last week, and she's again pulling away. They had their one date, and he said it was amazing. You know, I don't want to go into a lot of details, but he got a lot farther with this girl than even I thought he would have gotten with her being the way he is. He didn't have sex, but it was clear to me from everything he said about this date, she wanted to have sex. She gave him the opportunity to have sex, and he was too scared. He was too nervous to do anything. And now she is pulling away again, right? So I give him some pointers. I send him a book to listen to through Audible, and it's working. You know, like he is committed to having me show him how to date, and that was cool, right? And I thought that was okay. That's one dude, whatever. And then there's tonight. You know, I'm spending most of my evening with multiple girls on this one Facebook dating site, flirting with me. Like, not just flirting with me through Facebook, but through Messenger privately. And one of these girls, I haven't even met this girl. Like, she just has had conversations with me on Facebook. One of these girls practically begs me to have sex with her. Like, come over and do her right then, right there. Like, just, she was ready. And if you know me, that's not really what I'm about. As soon as she got to that point, I was kind of losing interest at that point. I want to be able to work for it, you know? Like, I want the chase. There was another girl that was a lot better about the chase. But we're talking in one night, I pulled two girls from one site, one Facebook group. And that's just one night. If I wanted to, I could probably have a date set for every day of the week. I can't afford that. You know, I usually go on 1-2 dates a week, maybe. I could probably afford to go on 3 dates a week if I really wanted to, but if we're talking 3 dates a week, I'm talking like cheap dates, like coffee dates, coffee first dates, the pre-date date, where you're just getting coffee or something. Real dates are like $60 or more, and so I can only afford like one of those a week. But the fact of the matter is, I'm getting more attention now than I've ever gotten, ever. And then there's this guy that through the conversation going on Facebook, it was about coffee dates. That's kind of why I brought up the whole coffee date thing. But it's a conversation about coffee dates, whether or not they're for or against it. And this guy says he's 33, and he says he's never been on a date. And I was in shock. So I contacted him first through Facebook, but then through Messenger. Gave him some books to read. Gave him a couple of YouTube links on YouTube guys, even YouTube girls, because maybe he felt like if it's all about men's advice to women toward dating women, that that might put him off. So I gave him a couple of girl YouTubers like Marnie the Wing Girl and Caitlin B for sexual advice. And suddenly it's like between those two and a couple of other people that have contacted me, I'm starting to feel like I'm a freaking dating coach. Like it's like, I mean, I'm still over 300 pounds. I don't have the greatest job. I'm not catfishing. I'm telling these people exactly what I do and what I'm about. And which is funny. I mentioned catfishing because for the first time in my life, someone thought that maybe I was catfishing them, and I had to send them a video through Messenger showing that it is me, that I do look like this. I realize there's more to catfishing than that, but it's just funny that back in June I would have been looking for dating advice, and some of you are probably thinking, oh, 7 months, you've read a couple of books, what do you know, right? I'm not saying I'm some guru or anything. I don't even want to think like that. Like, I just think it's funny that like people are coming to me for dating advice now. Like, they're seeing me on the Facebook group, and they're seeing how I'm like the dude getting the most attention on that group, and the other guys are noticing it. It's just, when it comes down to, I think, is like, I'm willing to say things other guys won't. I'm bold. I will be sexual when I talk dirty to you girls on the Facebook group, and instead of getting rejected like guys often expect they're going to get rejected if they say the things that I say, I'm getting nothing but, the surprise looks, the surprise emojis, and then comments that suggest they're into it. It's just nuts. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to boast. I don't want to, show off. But it's funny that it's gotten to this point, I'm telling guys how to dress, where to go to get dating advice, not from me. The one friend, the actual guy I know, I'm trying to give a little bit more than just, oh, check out these YouTubers or, read these books. I'm literally spending time with him. He came over to my house last week and we watched the movie Hitch, which is kind of funny because he's like seeing me that way now, as the date doctor or whatever. But basically what we did was we watched Hitch, and then I would pause it every time they tried to teach a little lesson in the movie, and I would kind of go further on that. Some other things that were said in the same kind of lesson in the books, the way they would word it, explain it. And then, of course, personal advice. I mean, over my life, I've actually had quite a few dates. I just haven't had quite a few dates in the last, I don't know how many years. Like, my 30s have not been the most date-worthy, but, I give advice on how to be mysterious with women without having to avoid every question, because that's the way most people think, is like, if you want to be mysterious, they think you got to, like, kind of avoid the question and say something witty and have banter and all that. Girls will actually get annoyed if every time they ask a question you kind of sidestep it. Like, that just doesn't work. But if you can sidestep a couple of your questions playfully here and there, that's great. But what you want to do if you want to try to be mysterious away from that concept is plan a date that is unique, that you're excited about, something that you know she'll like because it's a date that she's probably never been on. Heck, it doesn't even have to be so unique that they haven't been on it. It could be the standard, drive with nowhere to go, playing music kind of date. It really can be that simple. But whatever it is you're doing, as long as it's not like, just a dinner date or a movie date, as long as it's something a little bit outside of that realm, if you do something like that, especially if you're creative with the date, right? As long as you can avoid giving them the clues to what they're going to be doing that day, all you do is you tell them what they need to be prepared for the date. Dress warm, or you might need this or that for this date, and it's really smart to already have those things for them anyway, just in case they forget. But like, if it's going to be cold, make sure that they're going to wear a coat, right? But other than that, you give no clues, and you let them know that you're not going to tell them. You're like, I'm going to pick you up, and that's it, Or if it's one of those dates where you're going to meet somewhere, like, we're going to meet here, but we're not staying there. All right. The rest of it, lip sealed, like not even a clue. You don't even want to give them clues, and that's the real problem. Is the guys they like to tell the story. They like to let the clues out, and then that ruins it because they'll figure it out. My friend, the one that went on his first date, right? He knew that she wanted to go shooting, that she'd never been shooting before. And this guy's a real gun enthusiast, so he's confident when it comes to shooting. He's got like 3 or 4 different guns, right? At least, I think all 3 of them are his. Some of them might have been his friends, but he could borrow them. Anyway, his plan was to take her out to the shooting range. Right? It was going to be cold. This is like during the week that we had the snowpocalypse. So I told him, tell her to dress warm and don't give any other details. He ended up giving clues, and she figured it out. He gave her a picture of something he thought she would never figure out what it was, and she figured it out. All right? So he kind of failed in that regard. They still ended up having a good date, considering how it ended. She was super into him during that date. I think his only failure was that he didn't stay with her when it got to that point where she was ready for it. I think that's really the only thing he did wrong. But no, that's my best advice I can give someone about being mysterious is plan a unique, creative date, and then don't give any details. It works wonders. It's probably one of my best moves. I also go on about how to do something bold, especially if you can do something bold in the beginning of the date. I don't want to tell you what I'm talking about because I use certain moves, and I won't be surprised if like a future girlfriend sees these videos and I don't want her to think of it, but although she probably will figure out what I'm talking about when I do these things on her, and then she watches that video and she's like, oh, you probably just do that to all your girls. Well, I do a lot of the same things on dates because I know they work. Doesn't mean that I don't want you to enjoy those things, and I'm doing them so that you'll enjoy them. But the fact of the matter is, if you can find something bold, especially if you can find something bold that breaks the touch barrier without coming across creepy, that's really what it's about on a first date, anyway. I don't know, you get confident and you can say just about anything and not worry. If they do get upset, because occasionally girls will be put off what you say, and not every girl's going to be into your little dirty innuendo or whatever, but more often than not, if you can show that you're confident when you say it, you don't act nervous, it goes over really well. You want some other tips, guys? For those of you who are guys watching this, the best cologne for men like it's called the King of Colognes. It is Creed Adventist. It is super expensive though, so if you're going to want to get something that smells like Creed Adventist, there are several clones. Just look up Creed Adventist clones, and you'll find like half a dozen. There's only a couple that are really close clones, but I think one's called Explorer. Anyway, Creed Adventist is like the clone for men. I'm actually considering buying one myself. I have to remember what the name of this one is, because it's supposed to be the most popular clone of Creed. It's called Club de Nuit Intense Man. I smelled this thing, this clone, and the YouTube videos I watched on different people giving their review on it. They agree that it's not a cologne that smells good when you first put it on. Its opening notes are too strong. It basically smells kind of like I want to say like Mop and Glow. It's very, very lemon, very, very acidic, and it's overpowering. But give it about 30 minutes, and then you get to the base, and it's so good, so good. And the great thing about at least the clone, I'm not even sure about Creed, but according to everything that I've heard about this, I mean, I could still smell this sample, and this thing was sampled like weeks ago, and I can still, if you put my nose to it, I can still smell it, and it still smells amazing. But they generally say that the cologne will last you about 8 hours, and it will give you a nice, good-sized bubble. You know, you don't want to put it on right before a date. You want to put it on like 30 minutes before a date. Okay, but there you go. There's your best cologne. Go out and get it. Like I said, it's called Club de Nuit. Spell it N-U-I-T. That part right there, that's weird. Intense Man. You can get it for about $50. Otherwise, you're spending like $350 to $400 for the real stuff. I was going to go with Rebel, which is supposedly inspired version, inspired on Creed Adventist. And I really wanted to buy that one because it's by one of my favorite YouTubers. I say he's one of my favorite, but I can remember doing a video. I think I ended up getting rid of the video because it went into some stuff I didn't want to. I just doesn't feel comfortable having public. But I remember kind of dissing this guy, this YouTuber, like several months ago when I was first starting to get to know this guy on YouTube, Alpha M. Because, to be quite frank, he can come across a little bit douchey. He talks a little bit louder than he should. He can be a little bit annoying. But I like him because his clothing advice is great. Like, basically my whole wardrobe is based around his suggestions. Aside from the fact that I don't like double monk strap shoes. I'm not really into that. But most of his clothing choices, like, they're premium. They're great. I also like teaching men's fashion, by the way. Yeah. But I'm kind of getting off topic here. I wanted to go with him because he has 3 colognes. They come in a set. One of them is called Revel. But from what I hear from reviews, I've thought about just buying a sampler. From what I've heard, that it is just inspired, not a true clone. And if Creed is the best, I want the best. I want as close to the best as I can. I hear that the hardest thing that people have a mimicking with Creed, that what you're really paying for with Creed, is that Creed has some special ingredient that gives it this extra smoky smell. And the smoky smell doesn't come across very strong in other clones. But yeah, I mean, I can give you tons of advice from these books. I go on for hours on dating advice, but I find it very strange that the kind of things going on in my life now that were not going on, back in June, July. It's nuts. So, if you guys are more interested in dating advice, what I've accrued, what I've experienced, actual life experience, because I could tell you some funny and scary life stories in my dating life, especially when I was 27. If you're interested in all that, let me know in the comments. I know I've only got a couple of people that actually watch these videos consistently. I'm not some big YouTuber or anything, but so I don't get a lot of comments or whatever. But if you want more on how to pick up women, not for the sake of picking up women, I don't want you to be a player, but I can't really control that. If you want to know how to approach women, let me know in the comments. I would love to go into bigger details on this, but it's already 26 minutes long. I'm gonna let it go. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Oh! I almost forgot. So, you want to know my weight for this week? I've reached the benchmark. I can now use my total gym. I'm at 314, which 2 days ago, I weighed myself and I was 316. Water weight, whatever the reason, I wasn't there yet. And I told myself 315 was going to be the bench for that. My next bench is now going to be under 300 pounds. So that's the next goal I'm going for. I'm happy. I will talk to you later. All right, guys. Bye.